I gotta refresh this real quick, and then we should be good. Or not yet. It says streaming. There we go. Hello and welcome back to the Play, Make, Learn stream. This afternoon we are all in person, which is lovely because then I get to meet everybody. And we are starting out with 3 analog games. So I have Cody with me here right now. We are going to talk about So You Want to Be an American. Let me get that over that. So yeah, why don't you start with telling me a little bit about the game? And we're going to open this up so that we can reference what you are saying to me.
Great. Yeah, so this is a game that takes players through the U.S. immigration system. It is all statistically accurate to the real system. So anytime there's a checkpoint in the game where there's a game of chance, your probability of success matches people's likelihood of getting through that checkpoint in real life.
Wow, that sounds frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you got the gist of it already. Every turn counts as a year.
Okay.
And you keep track of how many turns it takes you to go through the process. And all of that is also accurate. So each path is designed to take the average range of years or turns as it would in real life for somebody to get through it. And you end the game with the real U.S. citizenship test. So the questions are pulled directly from U.S. Customs and Immigration Services, which there have been studies that show 1 in 3 Americans can pass the citizenship test.
I was just thinking that, like, I couldn't remember the stats, but I'm like, I remember hearing that a lot of, like, natural born citizens can't pass it.
Yes, all of the questions that are in the game are directly the wording from the actual test. And some of them are really confusing. So I wonder, like, if with some clarity of wording, whether maybe more Americans could pass.
Sure.
But yeah, it's extremely difficult to parse, and a lot of them are really specific. And it's an empathy building game. It's really the purpose. So as you said, you imagine it would be frustrating. And so it's to get a facsimile of the emotions that you might experience going through that process.
So that actually, so I think you just answered the question I was going to ask, but that was, because you mentioned empathy games. So I was going to ask, is this targeted toward people who are looking to immigrate here, or are you targeting American citizens so that they understand what other people have to go through?
Yeah, so it's very specifically targeted at people with birthright and heritage American citizenship who would never otherwise have to experience this process.
Got it, sure.
Yeah.
So why don't we take a look at
Okay.
some that's like some stuff that is on here, because I'm sure I mean, it's like I don't know this process.
Right. You don't have to, right? It's extremely detailed. The information is all available theoretically online, but being able to get through that, like, without a lawyer, is extremely difficult.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at some of this right here. If you are not a genius, inventor, or star, although I suppose that makes sense. If you're a multi-million-dollar movie star, they're probably letting you in to spend your millions of dollars here.
That's correct. Yeah, there is actually, if you have $10 million to invest in American companies. That is a path. That is a
okay.
We have this little slide. We get straight in.
Sure.
The green card. But it has all of the different paths represented for past a student visa. There's no student visa represented on here.
Okay.
We have the work visa pathway, family sponsorship pathway, and asylum represented on here. And you have to decide based on the cards you get at the beginning of the game, which give you some basic information. You have to pick what you think is open to you and navigate it.
Okay, so in that case, let me pull up some cards here and see what we're looking at. I purposely have not played any of the games yet because I wanted to make sure we didn't talk past chat, who has not played the game.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my goal here. I'm also going to be very careful to not lose anything. So are these?
These are our cards, yes. Yeah, so
okay.
You get,
so we have skill cards, family, country of origin, and motivation. So these are what you're getting at the beginning?
Right. So at random, you get one of each.
Okay.
You read through them. You pick a path that you think is open to you, and sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you get partway down that path and you hit something and you realize, wait, I'm not actually eligible for this.
Sure.
And you have to start again, which represents how opaque that process can be. able to get through all of the details before you get going.
And I'm assuming, I mean, I guess I know enough that your country of origin also matters because we have different rules for people from different countries.
That's correct, yeah. And that comes into play with, there are different surprise events that can happen along the way. So we have little news icons on the board and little letter icons. So those represent global events that can happen that might affect your immigration process, and individual events that can happen that affect it. And there is we have a companion site that has all of those. I don't know if this is going to be visible.
I'm not sure, but I think there's a picture of your companion site in here.
There is,
that might show up a little better.
Yeah. So you hit. You have the news events. You have their little letters. So in the news events, those typically affect people based on country or region of the world that you're in. So there's an element of geography to this as well, like knowing where your nation is, and those will affect people differently depending on where you're from.
So as I mentioned, I'm sure I've learned so much about this because I don't know the process, but I know like just enough. For example, I lived abroad for a while, and I had that fun experience of the immigration laws changed while I was there, and I wasn't paying attention to the news, so I showed up to, it's like every so many months I had to go check in with the immigration office, and then I showed up with the wrong paperwork. Because I didn't know, because I hadn't been watching the news, and everything turned out fine. Like, I was able to work it out, but that can be extremely stressful because you walk into this office and it's like, am I going to be deported? Did I just do something illegal accidentally because the laws changed? No, right? That is a stress that I can understand.
Yeah, and that's something that is definitely worked into those individual events. So there are things like that the rules have changed, and so you have the wrong form, right? The form's been updated, or there was a fire in your apartment, you've lost all your original documents.
Oh.
Now you have to go and get new ones.
Yes.
And you opened your medical results before going to see your immigration officer, and they need a sealed copy. So now you have to go and do that again.
Yep, sealed copies of medical. I remember having to do that also. Yeah,
there's a lot of really specific rules that are very, very difficult to keep all of them in mind. And as you said, they change constantly.
Yes. All right. Also, there's also probably some things that people wouldn't, again, because I'm not sure about how it is to get in the U.S., but like one of the things I had to do was I had to have not tuberculosis, what was it? There's this test for disease that I am now like blanking on right now. Because we just don't have it here, which is why I can't remember. And that was very odd because I just went to, my like regular doctor and they're like, we don't test for this. And I'm like, I have to have a test result or I can't get into this country.
That's a really good one. I'm going to write that one down after this to add into because we can live update that website, so there might be new news results or new letters at any time.
If I remember what this was, it was maybe you'll know it. Like historically, it was one where like people would be like sent to colonies so they wouldn't infect other people. Leprosy, yes. They were like, I needed a leprosy test. And I'm like,
wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know we had that. Like a test for.
My doctor did a visual like
inspection.
Yeah, she didn't know either. She's like, you don't have it, and then she signed. I don't mind. Because that's what she said. She's like, I don't know that there is a test for this because we don't have it here. It's not a concern. So yeah, that was a surprise. We learned so much.
Yeah.
Trying to immigrate to another country.
Yeah.
I hope we get to play this before I leave today. This seems exciting. We have a couple more minutes, but is there anything that you would like I didn't ask about, or you would really like to everyone to know? Maybe where they can find this?
Yeah, you can find it on the Game Crafter, which is a small batch publishing company. They'll print to order. And if you just Google "say you want to be an American," it will come up. I think something that's a little bit different about this game than a lot of other games is that it's not competitive or cooperative. So everyone is on their own journey through it. You can play as one player, but it is designed to play with a group so that you can witness other people going through the process. Right? A huge part of the empathy building and the understanding building is saying, I'm having this experience and this person next to me is having a wildly different one. And why? And let's talk about it. It's like that is a really important part of the process. Yeah. So you're on your individual journey, but you're watching other people at the same time.
I really love it because, I mean, like you said, if you don't need to know this information, you never will. But it's important that you do, because policies come up that people vote on, and so many times people vote on things that they don't know, right? So you have a politician saying X, Y, Z about the process, and it's like, you need to know the process to make an informed decision.
Right. And it is, immigration was one of the top 2 issues that people say decided their vote in 2024. And it's something Americans generally have strong opinions about, but very little factual information. So it's a great way to, low threshold to engagement, like get into it, understand the facts, and come out the other side and develop a really informed opinion.
That is amazing. I love it. Thank you for making this. Thank you for joining us, and I hope I get to run into you again.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you. All right. So, as I announced this morning, for anyone who is new in chat, we do have a Discord up, so you can talk to all of the designers, or at least all the designers that have time there. We're going to, I'm not going to stop stream. We're going to only have a small break in between each interview. Our next one is greeting Cody right now, so I'm sure she will be over in just a minute. Let me see what the name of this next one is. Let me see if I can figure out where that information is. Ooh, our next game is going to be Toma El Paso. All right. It has definitely gotten more lively here. So while we have a couple of minutes, it looks like our next interviewee is now showing off her game to Cody. I was thinking Nathan, who is off camera right now, but Nathan has been putting together all of the tech for me because I've been not wide awake enough to do it. I was thinking after the last interview of trying to flag down anybody in the room who would care to come on and just talk a little bit about the conference. What do you think? You couldn't hear me, could you?
No, this is way too loud over there.
I was thinking after the last interview, because we should have some time in between our interviews and then the award ceremony that's going to happen here. Oh yeah, I don't know if I announced this. Everyone I'm interviewing is one of the finalists. We don't know who won yet. That is going to be announced here later. We're not streaming that though. We'll post in the Discord. I was thinking of seeing if we could just grab somebody random from the conference, or somebody we know, I don't care, to just kind of say like, hey, here's how the day went. Here's this cool panel I saw, etc. Something.
That'd be cool.
I think so too.
I think I fixed the echo.
Awesome. And it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody random. Somebody you know.
Oh, thank God. Driving me crazy.
I believe it.
So much happier now.
Understand.
Trying to solve that like all morning or afternoon. I see you'd want to just grab some different interviews.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But somebody who's actually been like walking around.
So what's funny is most of the people have actually.
I meant as opposed to like, say for example, Peter has been sitting at that table for most of the day and not seeing other panels. Although we could talk to him about the conference game.
That's true. We could check in.
That could be interesting. So for anyone who doesn't know,
2 weeks.
yeah, actually, I suppose if anyone is in chat, that means they're not here in person. But there is a conference game happening that I know very little about.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did you help make it?
Yeah, I helped make it.
Oh, well, we can talk to you too later then. Yeah,
All kinds of like channel.
I did see that. It actually looks really interesting. The only reason I haven't looked at it or anything else is because I've been here.
Really, you're busy?
Yeah,
No way.
busy. Do you want to do me a favor and maybe get Miss Tran's attention?
Yes, I can. Oh, I'm just.
I'm sure chat also greatly appreciates it. And I am very happy to now have this nice jacket, courtesy of Chris. Hello, have a seat. So you can adjust that however you are comfortable talking.
Hi. Hi,
I
everyone.
didn't
I'm
have-
very cold. I run very.
I have two jackets now. One of which I stole from one of my colleagues who's now walking around cold. Yeah, that's exactly why I have the blanket and the extra jacket. So we are here now with Miss Tien Tran. Did I say that right? Ooh, good, thank God. And the game is Toma El Paso. Uh, so I would like to start by you just kind of introducing this game, and if you don't mind, I'll open it up and I'll kind of show while you're talking.
Yes, so El Paso or Make 'em is a game originally designed for unaccompanied immigrant minors. Are from this out because I saw the value of game audience, unaccompanied minors, and we discovered that one of the areas that they were most confused about was the current situation in this shelter. How do I get relief? And so I through the process of learned that there are three pathways for relief. One is reunification.
Okay.
So release custody of someone who will sponsor you. Federal foster care. So general foster care into the care of by the U.S. government, and then voluntary departure, which is voluntarily sent back to your. And so at the beginning of the game, as is the case in reality, they know nothing about the process. Their first task in the job is to meet what is called a. In the game, there are several key personnel that they interact with. First and foremost, the manager, who is the one who actually kind of holds the information about their process. And the game goal is to be released, be approved by one of these pathways. So you meet with the case manager, who is this little yellow character. It's an NPC who has a specific way of moving about the board on the yellow numbered spaces. And when you meet with them, you get your packet, which is basically the the simplified version of each side of the three envelopes. You, based on the subscription, pick one of the pathways, and then you start your journey. So if I'm on the green one, I'm doing federal foster care, and that means I need to collect first a proof that I may qualify to stay in the U.S. legally by going to the law office. And then the second, after you would then get a phone interview with your foster family or group home. So you need to go to the phone space where the phone is in the shelter. Oh, the game board is a shelter. So if you pull out the game board, you'll see it's kind of it's a map of the shelter. It's got a space like a classroom, the different places where you might run into the case manager, run in or meet with. We've got the classroom, we've got the gym, the dorm living situation. Couple of those. And so this is just a very, rough kind of map of what it would be, the place you would navigate. But you would go to, like, for example, the phone if you needed to have a phone interview, which I should know where that is. Thank you. Yeah, it's upside. That's why it's.
Oh, man.
Right.
You know.
It's all good. Oh, actually, no, this is right. This is the right way. Yes. So the case manager moved from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is simulating that a case manager is very busy. So you have to kind of, as they meet with a child, they move from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And so you're actually constantly strategizing how you want to move around the board in order to maybe meet with the case manager or to get closer or faster to the space that you might need to go to achieve your item. If you are, for example, trying to get proof that you qualify to stay in the U.S. legally, and you actually make it to the law office, you put a card here, and once you complete your envelope with 3 items, then you can move on to the 4th step. Typically, this is the roll of the die. So it's based on a little bit of chance there. And if you roll 4 or more, then you are approved to transfer to federal foster care. If you roll less than a 4, your case is still being decided. So a lot of things in here are about time. How much time it might take to collect your item. You might get things that are delayed due to your own actions or delayed due to the actions of the people involved in your case.
Wow. So, sorry, I was just thinking, like, I looked at the game board and I'm just thinking, like, for children, how
Oh, yes.
terrifying.
Yes, and so the original audience was for these unaccompanied immigrant minors. I was fortunate to partner with a organization. I used to live in Miami, and I connected with an organization that was doing curriculum in the shelters, and they were actually revising their curriculum, and there was actually an exact spot for this game to exist, and they didn't know how they were going to talk about the immigrant youth's current situation and in this past, present, future book of life curriculum that they created. And I was, I fortuitously met them right at the moment where they needed to find something to put in there. And so it was used for 4 years in a Miami-based shelter. It could still be, I'm not sure because that funding, of course, ran out at one point. But during the pandemic, I found out that it was being used in a college classroom, specifically at St. Louis University in an immigration course. And they were already using it. And Dr. Kate Moran reached out to me over email and said, I've been playing this game in my class, but now it's locked in my office. Is there any way we could play it over Zoom with my students? And so if you go to the immigrationgames.com, you can learn more about this game, as well as some other resources. Dr. Kate Moran and I evenally ended up writing a book chapter about how to use this game for learning. But what her students discovered, these college students who are, 18, 20 something, they're like, I'm doing this in the comfort of either a classroom or my home, and I'm kind of shocked that this exists. This is based on a real system, and I'm a bit confused, just because there's a lot going on. But imagine that I am 12. I could be even younger. I could be around age 12. Maybe learning this through a second language. We do have the game in Spanish. That's predominantly how it's used in the shelter, but not everyone even speaks in that version of Spanish, or might have some other dialect that they might need some kind of translation into. And they comment on how this is the due process version that these youth have, and it's so confusing. And the game is meant to kind of reduce that confusion, because actually what I learned in researching this game is case managers say the time that I have very limited time with each youth, and they spend a lot of that time talking about just what are the options, like the generic information. This game is meant to provide that generic information so that when they do meet with their case manager in real life, they already have some of that foundation, and
They're not using that time.
Right, so they can be like, okay, so I know these 3 choices. Like, if I were to prefer unification, like, what are my chances? Like, I already know what these 3 things are. What are my chances for reunification, federal foster care? Or, often they don't want to do voluntary departure, but they might want to go that route. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I don't think this was planned. It was just how time worked out. But the last game was also about immigration. And I had mentioned, so I was born in the U.S., but I have lived abroad, and so I was doing a little bit of comparing. Now, I did that at 27 and often got confused, and I'd studied the language. I'd studied Chinese for a long time, so it's like I could mostly speak, but then like I was not prepared for some of the like legal jargon, which honestly sometimes even in English I'm like, I don't know that word. even being a native speaker and like imagining being 12 and also having, I imagine, less control because they're being held in a center, whereas I got a hotel room and then got to deal with immigration more on my own terms than these children do.
Yeah, you chose to put yourself in that situation, whereas they did not
Yes.
choose to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's what I have also learned when I was this game actually I did most of the game design and development in 2012. This was actually my MFA thesis when I was at Parsons, and I was in New York, and I was working with an immigration lawyer who had identified the value of interactivity and play for this audience, and it was connected with immigrant youth, including ones who had been in a shelter and had been released. One of her clients who played the game having post shelter experience, and that was illuminating to hear. Yeah, this is how it happened. This is how like I experienced it, or if there was an in-game scenario, they're like, I know someone who that happened to.
Mm-hmm.
So that really validated the choices because I didn't know any. I didn't design the system, right? This is I'm a game designer.
Right.
I'm trying to pick mechanics, rules that align with the real world scenario. And I don't have lived experience. And it was great to play test with someone who did, and they were able to validate, like, yeah, like this is what it's like. And that it is confusing. And it is also, there are moments of hope. It seems kind of odd to say that, but hope, but also like struggle too, because sometimes, for example, reunification, you need to actually get. And actually, this is a lot of this content is from 2012, 2014 when I had people familiar with the shelter release process vet the content. We made some adjustments there. I think things have changed slightly since then. So I'll just give a kind of disclaimer that some of this is a little bit outdated, and who knows what's been happening in 2025. I'll also say that. But for example, you might need to get if you're doing reunification, one of the steps is to get your sponsor's fingerprints. And your sponsor might actually realize they don't feel comfortable doing that. Because the sponsor does not have to be documented. And so I think there was maybe a little more willingness in other times to be on kind of record in the system, and maybe now not so much, right? But you kind of learn that some of these things are out of your control. Like you can maybe talk to your sponsor and encourage them to provide the proof of their relationship to you or the fingerprints, but they might change their mind. There's a chance card deck that I call it the advanced version, but it actually adds a lot more scenarios. But there's like ones where for reunification, your case manager finds out your sponsor does not have a bed for you. Call your sponsor and ask them to get a bed for you. So that one you can actually do if you just make a call. We didn't give them a die roll, like whether that bed happens or not. But I think there is another one where you basically lose progress on your envelope because the sponsor changes their mind or something happens. And there's also some other like behavioral actions too. So not necessarily that you actually do, you draw a card and find out like, oh, you've been kind of acting out a little bit, and you need to go to see a therapist or write a letter stating that you have some remorse, you want to apologize for those actions, because when you go to the judge, they actually sometimes get these reports, and so they need to know that you're a good person and deserving of approval.
Sorry, I'm just thinking like, you have a small child in this situation. Of course, there's going to be some acting out because they don't have the emotional maturity to process what is happening to them. Like,
so like in a way, they have to act unnaturally, right? Like,
right.
The whole situation is unnatural.
It is.
And sometimes I should say they're called unaccompanied immigrant minors. That doesn't mean at the time that they are found by the government or taken by the government that they are alone. Mm-hmm. It just means that because they're minors, they go to a different place than the adults. Again, this is based on information at least 10 years ago. I'm not sure what's going on.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, these things are very malleable. So I feel like, the game gets published and then something happens, so you would have to update this
Yes.
yearly to keep it perfectly up to date.
Right.
But also systems change slow, so I imagine a lot of it is still similar.
Yes.
Um,
I can't remember what it was, but I actually shared this game with a pro bono immigration lawyer who works with youth. And I showed her some of these, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that one actually has changed in the last couple of years." And so I was trying to figure out how to get this into shelters in Chicago, where I now live, and still working on that. So if you're in Chicago or you know someone who's working with the youth in the ORR shelters, let me know. Leanne.tran@default.edu.
um, yeah, and if anyone, are you in the Discord for the conference?
I am. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so people can find you there. We do have a continued from stream channel that I have not had time to look at. I don't know how busy or not that is, but I am told that there's a lot of people in the Discord. So yeah, if anybody knows anybody in Chicago who can help out, or if you have questions, you can feel free to reach out there. So it's 1:34, and I know that you are going to present, so I don't want to make you late, but do you have any like last minute something you really want people to know about this game or you or anything else, or if you just want to plug your talk, you can do that.
Well, I am about to. It's interesting. I never thought I would. I was not at all familiar with the immigration process in the U.S. Since then, I've worked on several projects on immigration. The session I'm about to go to is to talk about a collaboration I'm doing with Full Spectrum Features and their education team on the third installment of a trilogy of cinematic digital history projects on Japanese American incarceration. Specifically, we're working on a archival analysis game related to the redress movement. So the government documents that were found to help make a case for redress and some of the deformed novus cases of the 1980s. So that's what I'm going into, and that does relate to. There's some similar themes, I should say, incarceration of people without any unjust potentially incarceration.
Are you talking about like
World War
the
II.
World War II
Yep.
camps? That's what I was
Yeah.
going to ask.
Yes. So internment has been used as the term, but those in the community definitely would defer to incarceration because that's what it really was. And so there's themes of immigration, of incarceration, and yeah, so just is kind of where my path as a transformational game designer has taken me. So it dovetails. It's a nice, interesting like how they kind of dovetail together. And if you want to learn anything more about my work, immigrationgames.com, specifically to this one, or mattersatplay.com.
So again, I know you have to go do a talk, but if you want to put either of those websites, like if you want to type either of those websites into the Discord continued from stream, I think that would be helpful. Sometimes it's hard to hear a website, and be like,
Yes,
wait, what
yes,
was that? But thank you for coming. I will look to those links. I hope I get to play this before I leave tonight. We're gonna see how long streams go. But thank you for taking the time to talk to me while you are running around doing everything else. It was so nice to meet you. You're doing some really great work. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Great. Thanks for the blanket.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna steal my blanket back. I don't know if I said this on air or not, but my gosh, I am right underneath
Oh yeah,
an AC vent. I'm just told by Nathan that I have said this on stream already. I don't care. I'm so cold. Nobody's trying to get past you.
You might want to adjust the mics just so you guys are speaking into it. It's like for the most part, it's been fine.
Okay.
But like when you guys turn away from the mics,
Oh, so like when I turn to look at the
yeah, I think
person.
it's more just how the table's
I think it is a table setup. I was trying to put these down more so they could get under the table so I could get closer to the mic. But maybe I don't really need. Yeah, I don't need the mouse so much. Let's do this. Shout out to Chris Baker for this jacket because one, I now look more snazzy, and two, I am warmer. How dare you be a human being? All right, no tech problems are allowed because my tech guy is running to the bathroom. Hello, speak.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good,
So
thank
we
you.
actually met earlier.
Oh, I can't hear in the mic.
But this is
Video.
to Speak Wilson, and we are here to talk about That's Just Wrong.
Yes. That's just wrong.
Excellent. So here, why don't you hand this over to me?
Okay.
Let's show on camera. So I want to start by asking you to just kind of talk about the game, but I'm going to open this up. So as you're talking, like if you mentioned the board or cars or something, we'll just kind of show the camera
What we're talking about?
Yeah.
Sure. So I created the game because my kids wouldn't listen to me.
I can't imagine that. You have kids that don't listen to you.
I wanted to talk to them about, like, hey, no texting and driving, okay?
Oh.
Or all these other issues, like, hey, how good a job do you have to do to fix something around the house?
Mm-hmm.
What are your responsibilities if you're driving to the lake house with your friends and you're a passenger?
Mm-hmm.
If you are watching a sports game, what do you have to pay attention to? What don't you have to pay attention to? And so all these issues, you want to have a conversation, but as soon as you open your mouth, they knew that coming from me, it was just going to be a lecture. And so
Are they teenagers by chance?
they were. Now
Okay.
they're not. So I created the game so that people could have these conversations, because you can't have the conversation if it's a lecture.
Right.
And so how do you do it? And so my answer was that you give law cases, okay, where the answers are, you have to try and figure out how the judge decided the case.
Oh, so these are all legal cases.
They're all legal cases.
All right.
And they are,
So I'm just going to pull one here.
okay. So, so this first one here, which is case number 1, we'll show that as an example, but let's talk about the texting and driving case, because it's a little bit easier to explain for some folks. This gets into a lot of details about, which one is this? Oh, yeah.
Chaos erupts at Brooklyn Station.
This is a super famous case. It's like the case that everybody does their first day in law school, okay? And it's all about, that case is about a guy's right. The train conductors have a rule. The rule is you don't help people on moving trains.
Okay.
Okay. This guy's running down the platform. He's carrying a box. The train is pulling out. They decide to help him on the train.
Oh.
He drops the box.
Uh-huh.
The box contained fireworks.
Oh, no.
Fireworks explode. The percussive force of the fireworks explosion knocks over a scale at the end of the platform. And that scale lands on Miss Helen Palsgraf. And so she sues the railroad.
Right.
Okay, for negligently helping the guy on the train.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so the question is, does she win? Okay, and that's what you got to figure out with your class or with your family or whatever. Again, and the game is to try and how do the judges decide this case? And so it's a very famous case. I'm not going to go into the answer, but really, you could look at it 2 ways.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what? The guy is carrying fireworks. Why is the train? There's no way the conductors would possibly know
Right.
that this guy is basically carrying the equivalent of a bomb.
Right.
Okay, and running down the platform oh, I dropped my bomb. I'm sorry, people got hurt. It's the train's company's fault.
Yeah.
Okay, or do you follow it with each step? Right,
Mm-hmm.
if they'd followed the rule, they wouldn't have dropped the package. If you hadn't dropped the package, Miss Helen Palsgraf wouldn't have been hurt. Or do you stop it at a certain point and say hey, he's the guy who's really at fault. So how far back do you carry that causal event? So that's for that particular case where you'd be stuck. For the case, let's say I want to talk to him about texting and driving.
Yeah.
That case is, the facts are so interesting. The boss is texting his employee and saying, hey, blah, 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 just a text. She's driving. He knows she's driving. He has an accident. People who are hurt, they sue, obviously, the driver. but they also sue the boss for texting the driver. So if you want to have this conversation with my kids, I'm like, let's talk about second-hand driving. They're just like, no way. I don't want to talk about this. I know what you're going to say. But now you have a situation where you have this case in front of you, and now you got to figure out whether the person injured wins against the person texting who wasn't driving, right? And what does that mean for society? Okay, what does it mean to distract a driver who's driving intentionally? Okay, and what does it mean for the power relationship between the boss and the employee? I mean, I was just talking to someone, I was telling them about this, and they were like, we just got a note from our superior saying we're not allowed to text and drive. Like, don't read this text while you're driving. They got the text while they were driving, which is kind of hilarious. But so like, this gives you a platform for talking about this. But it does put you and to try and like solve it for the judge. But you get to talk about it, and you're not lecturing, because you're both trying to solve the same problem. But you can say whatever you want about the problem.
Right, and you're not then also talking about them directly, which I'm sure it helps. But
Correct.
You're talking about this other case. So I'm curious. So I haven't had a chance to like any of the games yet. Do we get told?
Yeah. So the front side, basically the front side is what everyone did. Everyone reads this case. On the bottom of the card, I have a few questions that are relevant to the discussion that would follow. You can answer. You also get a card at the beginning, basically laying out the rules. These are all negligence cases.
Yep.
Okay. And so that card is the principles of negligence, which everybody has in front of them. So you could actually go through them one at a time, saying, oh, does this principle apply, blah, 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 go down the line, and then make your decision making sure you didn't miss anything. And so then you all come together, and then you make your decision. How did the judge decide? So you have three choices. The plaintiff wins, plaintiff loses, or it's a split decision. Sometimes both parties are at fault. And then it depends on how the state or country handles situations where both parties are at fault. The states are weird. Sometimes if you're like, even like a small fraction of fault, you can't recover. So it just depends. But the point is those are the three options. And now you have to decide. And then when you get answers right, you advance to another court. So everyone begins like small claims court, blah, 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 municipal court, and they try and advance. If you get 6 cases correct, you end up with the Supreme Court. So that's the game. And it's great for families, but it's also great for like teachers who just want like a one-off thing to like do some time and get the kids thinking about these issues, because we're in Wisconsin right now, and Wisconsin, people are using, up north, they're using snowmobiles all the time.
Yes.
Okay? Well, I have a snowmobile. Like, literally, I have a going to the bathroom case. Okay? Nathan went to the bathroom earlier. Oh, I got a great case about going to the bathroom.
There we go.
Okay? It's horrendous. Okay?
So I could also see this being beneficial. Like, there's a lot of cases here. I don't know how many are
120.
120, that's a lot. I feel like taking the train example, this could help somebody understand like bureaucracy and institutions a little bit. Because I think we often run into cases, I'm sure you have too, where you're in a situation and you're like, that's a weird rule. Like, why do we have that? And it's like, these are the reasons we have these rules, is because things happen, even if they are unintentional, and we didn't think of it beforehand.
These cases, a lot of these cases are the reasons products are so much safer now than they used to be. I mean, I was talking to a guy a couple months ago who was he worked on one of the container ships. Okay, like 6 months on, 6 months off. So I told him the container ship case, because there's a case about everything. And the container ship case is there's a ship and it's unloading like benzene. It's just in buckets, okay, and it's leaking all over the hold, mixing with gasoline.
No problem.
No problem.
It's fine.
What could go wrong? Okay, and the stevedores are sitting there, unloading stuff from the docks, and one of their planks falls into the hold of the ship.
One of their what?
A plank that the stevedore is using to like
Oh, okay,
cross,
gotcha,
you know,
gotcha.
to carry stuff back and forth across the hold.
Gotcha.
So the hold is there open. You put a plank across it. And the plank falls in, causes a spark. The whole ship explodes. Okay. It's happened during World War One. Okay.
Okay.
So I tell him this case, and he just laughs at me. He's like, that never can happen to them, ever. Like,
Huh, okay.
There's so many rules governing how how ships hold fuels and the types of tanks that they use, and you're not getting these situations where this stuff is leaking all over the place. It's just not happening.
Yeah, because I think you had some, as you go through this and the cases, really grow in complexity, and stuff like that, especially when talking like, about situations that a teenager could get into of like, negligence when it comes to driving. I mean, that really starts to hit home of like, oh, like this is what would actually happen in a court case should this scenario occur.
Absolutely, and take that example that you're talking about right there. There's a case where it's another. It didn't happen in Wisconsin. It happened in Tennessee. But these kids, they graduate from high school. They were partying, okay, and then they said, hey, let's go drive to the lake house. Okay, it's like 1 a.m. Let's go drive to the parents' lake house. We've been awake for like 24 hours straight.
Sure.
Okay, and so what happens is that the kid in the back falls asleep. Okay. Okay. And the question is, what duties did the kid in the back have to the driver, who he knew was tired?
Whoa.
Right. Like,
Say that one more time.
so the passenger in the back seat.
Yeah.
Does a passenger have a duty to the driver, who they know is tired? Okay. To not fall asleep.
Oh, so the passenger has a duty to stay awake to help the driver stay awake.
Exactly, to help the driver.
Interesting.
So before this moment, I don't think I ever would have thought about that. Like, I have fallen asleep while somebody else was driving. Not even trying to keep myself awake, right?
Right.
Because I'm like, they're driving, it's their
Correct.
problem. But now that I'm thinking in legal terms and we're having this conversation, I'm also thinking, well, wait a minute. If I'm out with friends and one of them is drunk, I will take their keys.
Sure.
Yep.
So if they're tired, why don't I take their keys?
Well, you might be tired too, and then it's like take your keys. You might just be like, there's tired and then there's tired,
Yeah, that's also true.
right?
Yeah, I was tired when I drove in this morning, but not dangerously slow.
Yeah, exactly. But it's always nice when someone, is not, you're on the phone with someone and blah blah blah. You're talking, and it helps you to stay awake and pay
Yeah.
attention,
Yeah.
and just engaging you, so you're not just like all alone.
Yeah, because like we'd be driving back from club Quidditch trips because I played Quidditch in undergrad, but we'd be driving across rural Iowa and we'd literally have other people in the van awake on deer watch. So whoever was driving didn't plow right into a deer.
Sure.
And we're
absolutely.
driving like 11 o'clock at night, trying to come back to Milwaukee.
So I mean, like these are cases that the teachers want to have with their kids, and parents want to have with their kids, because you want to have the kids to be thinking like this. You want them to be thinking like, okay, this could be a problem, and not only that, but now they have like a story to attach to that idea. Okay, so it's not just like, hey, I need to stay awake. You also need to stay awake. Oh, why do I need to stay awake? Well, because blah 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 blah. It's foreseeable that the tired driver would fall asleep, and because it's foreseeable and we're reasonable people, we should stay awake to make sure that doesn't happen. So you get these, you get all these conversations, But again, it's not like you need to stay awake.
Right.
You're not pointing the finger. You're not lecturing. You're letting them come to these understandings on their own based on other people's experiences, which is really great. Like, we all want to learn like the hard lessons because of someone else's experience rather than our
Yeah,
own.
no, that'd be definitely preferable. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I thought like
the benefit of being the youngest sibling.
Yes.
Okay.
because I thought that principle of negligence card was so important too when we were learning how to even play the game of breaking down the different components and being able to refer back to, oh well, but there's here's this gosh, like, it's been a bit since I've played it, so I have to see the card again. But being able to refer back to the specific part of the principle of, well, okay, but was it foreseeable?
Right.
Probably not. Like the guy having the fireworks in the box, like no one had any idea.
No one would
That's
know.
not something a reasonable person would assume.
No, so there's just tons of different. I mean, obviously, case about everything would just be really great. But also you get to read, like, this game also enables, if the teacher wants to extend it. Okay, on the back there's the citation. Okay, so you can look up the case. Okay, so you can have the kids read the original opinions of the judges, and so they can even go to like the next level to see, like, okay, so this is the opinion, this is the dissent. And actually the first case we talked about, the Paulsgraf case, with the dissent, arguably has had more weight in the law than the actual decision itself. So being able to understand, like, hey, just because we disagree, like, you don't guess correctly the decision of the justice, doesn't mean that in the end, like, the way you actually think about it isn't the way that is currently thought of.
Oh, interesting. Have you considered or been working on, like, expanding either this game or another one to be looking at principles other than negligence?
So the answer is not yet.
Okay.
Okay. But right now I'm working on a guide for teachers. Okay, so that they can use that as, because I didn't initially think that teachers were going to be buying it as much as they are buying it now, which was a great surprise and really very gratifying.
Oh, it's like, I used to be a social studies teacher. I would have bought it. I would have used it in class. It would have been great.
So, like, there are certain things, like, there are certain tweaks to terms of, like, how you can do the rules of the game, which I want to include as, like, additional ways to play. So, for example, you right now it's in the rules. It's if you advance one court if you guess correctly the decision of the judge. Okay, but it may very well be that you advance two courts if you correctly guess the decision of the judge and are in the majority, which then puts a different dynamic a little bit in terms of the players. Like, I'm suddenly really trying to convince you that I'm right. Okay, so now I'm like, but it's not just convince you that I'm right. Like, I need to convince you that I'm right because of the principles of negligence. Because we're all still trying to figure out how the judge decided the case.
Right, because the people, yeah. So, like, if you're trying to convince me,
Yes.
that's the case you have to make. Because if you just tell me, yeah, but we get to advance further if we are all in agreement, it's like, yeah, unless we're wrong.
Exactly.
So you have to have.
You have to have reasons.
Yes.
So in that kind of situation, if you advance two, like, you would probably switch sides if you were, like, between 50 and 60% confident, 66% confident. But if you were, like, 75% confident, you'd hold your ground, because in the end you'd advance faster. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So so you can add those dynamics by changing up the rules a little bit, and also some teachers, like, depending on what area where you live, okay, like, some cases may be more or less relevant to you. I got, for some reason, I got a lot of North Woods cases, like, like, hey, if you live in a place with lakes and woods and snowmobiles and snow
And alcohol,
and
and
ice
firearms,
and alcohol. I don't have a lot of firearms cases, but
I was just thinking Northwoods.
no, but yeah, exactly. Like, running, I got one for, like, so it's called the Salt Lick on Sugartown Road case. Okay. And this person had a salt lick on their property for the deer, like, back in the day when you didn't see as many deer as you see now. Okay. So they had a salt lick. And predictably, the wild animal came and then jumped into the road. So the car got into an accident. So they sued the person who had the salt lick for creating this hazard.
Wow.
I'm curious to see how that case actually turned out.
My grandma used to have a salt lick in her yard. I remember as a kid, like, I loved it, right? Watching the deer come by. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, you can figure this out. I mean, I have one where, like, literally the question is, how good a job do you have to do when you are fixing things around the house. Okay.
Your own house?
Your
Like DIY, I assume.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So like,
Oh,
there's a case
that's
about-
scarily applicable for me right now.
Let's look at a case about a doorknob, like a latch on a door.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And the length of the screws that attach the latch. Okay. And so, like it happened in England, and the fishmonger came by as fishmongers do, with the fish.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy invited him in for a cup of tea, as you do, of course, in England with the fishmonger. And then the fishmonger tried to leave, but the guy hadn't made the latch strong enough, and so the door blew. The latch came off the door, and the fishmonger toppled off of the stoop and injured himself. And now he's blaming the guy for a poorly installed doorknob.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so how, okay, well, is that, then the question's like, well, like if I'm putting in, I'm putting in the electrical system, right? How good a job do I have to do with that compared to the doorknob, or, putting in a step or railing? There's all kinds of things around the house where you might have different levels of required competency.
So I love fixing things
Sure.
in my own house.
Yes.
So my thought as you were talking is, I guess I'm just never inviting anybody. I would rather do that than hire people to fix my stuff. So we only have about a minute left. Did you have any final thoughts, anything you'd want people to know, or maybe where they can find the game?
Oh, sure. You can just you can find it on Amazon.
Oh,
Just-
okay.
That's just wrong. Speak Wilson, SPEKE Wilson, and that's just wrong.com. I think that's my Shopify address as well. So, yeah, that's I love to hear how people, which cases they find fun, and which cases they see that are applicable to their lives. I think the game is fun, and I think it's really great for kids to get into arguments over, and but not just arguments, because you really are.
Well, and there's structured arguments too. Like it is evidence based there,
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
and it gives them that scaffolding that you need, especially when you're a young learner in that position to engage in that kind of argument.
So hilariously, we keep talking about kids and parents, and I am picturing, I got a couple of friends who are in the gaming world, we call them rules lawyers,
Okay.
where they will debate
Well, actually,
pedantically, well, this is what that rule means or that rule means. And I'm thinking I could buy this game, sit down with my friends that are like that, and
Oh,
we would have fun.
absolutely.
Not in the classroom.
this could very
not
much be
with
like a
kids.
Yeah, for sure.
a
I'm just
party
like-
game. Absolutely, yeah.
I could absolutely see this as a party game with the right group of people. But all right. Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting
Absolutely.
you. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Nathan,
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
And I hope to see you around some more at the conference.
absolutely. Thanks so
All right,
much.
thanks.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me just take a peek at this schedule here and see.
That's our last analog one, correct?
That's our
We're
last
switching to
analog
digital.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Not showing up on the screen.
What are you looking for?
So, oh man, we did go a little over. So our next one is at 2 o'clock. I was hoping to have a minute because I need more. Here is our next person. So let's see. This is called Cozy River Valley, and I think you queued it up for me.
Yeah, it's on your other left monitor, I think.
It's on where?
Your furthest left monitor. Sorry, I realize you're not wearing headphones right now. It's on your furthest left monitor.
No, I can hear you.
Did it
There
get
it
closed out?
I was looking for the tab. Is what
Oh.
was happening.
Okay. You'll have to set up OBS for that.
What? Oh man. Okay. Yep. So let's see. So what we want to do.
You should be able to just share the window because the audio should be coming back through to here. So if you just do a window capture, it should work. Nope. We have a black screen now.
Yes, I know. That's what I wanted. I know it looks bad, but it is actually what I wanted. Everyone just give me a second.
Can I get some F's in chat?
You jerk. I looked. I looked. Um,
You have the OBS over your camera right now.
yep. It should
Cool.
be gone now.
Perfect.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I know it looks a little weird with the way chat is, but I don't care. I'm just leaving it.
Little teeny tiny chat.
Yep. Fine. Maybe I will actually.
Everything's fine.
I'm gonna move it a little bit so it's like covering the game less. Where's OBS now? Everything's just in an awkward place too. Like the mouse is in an awkward place. And
Sounds like you're crapping on my setup.
sounds like what?
Sounds like you're crapping on my setup.
No, I moved this after we were already live. Like you had it set up, and then I started moving things. You
When
did a.
Whenever I set anything up, like especially when like I was in the classroom, I would always have to like fix so many things because I had to like set it up at my height, and then remembering that like the general population needs things not at that height.
Yeah. Well, also it's just when you set things up for yourself.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you.
Exactly.
So I think Amy, this is your game, right? Please come over and join us. Oh, we have two. Okay, thank you.
Well, luckily I have a third mic.
Right. That's not for you. We have another chair right here. I only have two of the fancy wheelie chairs. I'm sorry.
You got a blanket.
I have a blanket. I'm freezing. I will give up the blanket though if one of you is
It
too
is cold in this
here.
corner.
That is an AC vent right above us. I've been complaining about it all day. This isn't even my jacket. I brought this from one of my colleagues. Like I'm so cold. Okay, so let's see. I gotta move this mouse somewhere so I can play the game and we can show people what is going on. All right, so why don't we start by actually this probably sounds horrible, but do you two want to introduce yourselves to me and to Chad? Like, sure. I actually didn't have a chance to do any background research. I was just given names and email addresses and said, here, do this.
Sure.
So we work at New Mexico State University at the Learning Games Lab. Our team creates educational media for all different educational topics, usually based on research. A lot of times the research is big multi-institutional projects with transdisciplinary participants, and then they want us to tie it all together with an outreach product. And we are very happy when that outreach product can be a game.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. All right, so
and Adrian is the director of our production studio, and I was the instructional designer on this game.
okay, excellent. So tell us about the game. So also for context, and I did this part on purpose. I did not play any of these games because I wanted to make sure we did not talk over chat who would have not had a chance to play anything yet. So I'm going to start playing a little bit. But if you could tell us, like, what's the idea? What am I going to learn by
Can I
playing
give
this
you
game?
one piece of advice?
Yes.
Don't read anything.
I can just click through if you would like.
There's tons of content in this game if you want to learn more about farming and
Okay.
how hydrology impacts arid lands agriculture. But to just get a sense of the game, we kind of suggest that, yeah, read the dialogue, but don't read a lot of the descriptive text yet.
Okay.
And focus on getting to your crops page and just choosing some crops to plant, choosing how much you want to water them, and then see what happens for a few rounds.
Okay, so we're going to learn about farming. Is that what's I'm
Yeah,
hearing?
so we're
Okay.
learning about how water impacts farming. In New Mexico, when you talk about farming, you're really talking about water because nothing will grow unless you give it water.
Sure.
It's not going to fall from the sky. It might come downstream in the river if you had good snow in the mountains, but you have to decide how to use it wisely because you're only going to have a certain amount in any given year.
And a lot of these crops are based on real crops. So we got information from scientists that are working with pecans and now they're similar crops, so we made fictional crops just so that we wouldn't be saying anything negative about real crops like pecans and rubbing people the wrong way. So yeah.
Sure.
People can draw inferences if they'd like.
I feel like that's the way of the world right now. It's like that.
So just don't think too hard and choose something you can afford and see what happens. And you do get the chance to install technology like soil water sensors and efficiency irrigation, which would be like drip irrigation.
Yeah, I did see that. I don't know a lot about water management and farming.
That's
So I don't know if I made the right decision.
There kind of is no right decision. There's just decisions that have a different impact on the aquifer, a different impact on your community, your environment, and your bottom line. You're trying to keep all those things in balance.
So there's definitely going to be outcomes I'm going to see, and I'm going to feel it was right or wrong. But all right,
Right.
I see this. It's very cute. I like your art style.
Yeah, our lead artist was Philip McVan. We did a lot of user testing with these characters, and the undergraduates is the target audience, and we found that that age group really liked these cute characters, and they also liked that they weren't glossy, that they had this sort of hand-drawn feel.
And all the creatures there are based on dry land creatures.
Okay.
Creatures that would live in the Southwest.
And specifically in a river valley. That's why we called the game Cozy River Valley, because the kind of agriculture that we're modeling is what would happen in just one of the few river valleys that exist in the West where you can do agriculture.
Okay.
So like the Rio Grande is the one that we have in New Mexico, or the Pecos.
Oh, wait, how do I select an option? Wait, am I missing something?
I think you should go ahead and commit.
Okay.
Don't try too hard to do it right. Just commit.
Okay.
Commit to your choices and see what happens. That scene there was going to let you flood your field if you had extra water, and you'll find out later that's a way to recharge the aquifer.
Okay.
We play tested this game with high schoolers, and they were really good at just not reading anything and just forging forward. And then we play tested it with a class of hydrology majors, and they spent 30 minutes just like reading every single bit of documentation before they would commit to anything.
This is that type of behavior I actually talk about in my design classes, because there are different types of players, not just high school students, who will not read. They will click through, but then you also have the people who will read everything. I worked on an MMO, and we had to balance that out because, again, it's different types of people, and you'll have those people who are like, oh my god, the lore, I need to know all of the things, and the other people are just like, I just want to battle, let's get through.
Yep, we were thinking about that balance in this game quite a bit. And then as it went along, specialists in different parts of the content would come to us and say, could you add just one more explanatory paragraph about my specialty?
Paragraph? Come on. No one's reading a paragraph in a game.
We ended up adding the almanac, which is that little question mark at the top, so that some of that info is there if you want it, but it's not, you don't have to click through it if you aren't looking for it.
So are there points, so I mean, I've only played this game for a couple of minutes now. Are there things in here where if I read them, I could make better choices?
Absolutely, but you shouldn't. You should just go back to your field and keep planning things.
Interesting. I like this. Okay. All right. So I'll go back to my field. Cover crops. No, I've never heard. Can you tell I grew up in the middle of a city? I'm like, I don't know what this is.
And one of the learning outcomes for this game was just to have players be familiar with some of these concepts without necessarily understanding them, but just knowing that there are all of these complexities that affect the water balance in a river connected aquifer system. We find a lot of our projects end up exploring complexity where one of the learning objects is just that people know that it's a thing, and they know that there's more to learn rather than necessarily mastering the material by playing the game.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like people undervalue how important that alone could be, right? Like I've been playing for what, 2-3 minutes, and I just learned that cover crops are a thing and they affect the water table. That's probably the totality of what I could tell you about it in this moment. But again, that's a whole new thing I just learned in these 2 minutes.
Yes, our department head, Barbara Chamberlain, she often says, knowing that it's a thing is a thing.
Yes, absolutely. Because you cannot find out more if you don't know, to ask, right? So once you know a thing is a thing, then you can ask it. We have a question in chat. First of all, they said it's adorable. Does the background update as you add more fields?
The fields do. The fields will update. These backgrounds don't.
But we are working on a sequel.
It's what?
We are working on a sequel,
Oh, okay. They are working on a season.
so you can have new backgrounds.
Okay. So okay. So I don't think I have enough water to do anything.
That is the number one takeaway from farming in an arid system.
I feel like the way in which I grew up is like so coming to the forefront here because I grew up in a city. I grew up on the Great Lakes system where running out of water is not a thing.
We have another game called Night of the Living Debt, which is a credit card game.
Oh!
And when we were designing this game, we realized that they both operate on this idea that you have to fail once before you can even try to play the game successfully. Because first it's just realizing that if you just kind of instinctively do what seems normal, you're going to fail both with your credit card and with your aquifer. But then the second time you play it, you're going to have a different perspective. And in the classroom, we encourage teachers to have kids play it in pairs, or undergraduates, I shouldn't call them kids. And
You can call them kids.
that way they discuss their strategy, and especially the second time they discuss their strategy. And then in the discussion of the larger group, you can kind of see how they shifted on the second playthrough.
I absolutely love that and agree. I do a whole week section on failure as a learning strategy in undergrad classes because I think especially being at a university, I run into students who never had a major failure, at least not one that they remember. And then they come here and they're on their own for the first time and they don't know how to do anything. And they're like, it's a struggle, right? And like reframing this as, yes, you failed at this the first time.
And I think if you play this, if you're familiar with farm sim games, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna water it because it needs water, right? But then you're like, oh, I don't have water. And so like the key takeaway is like, well, like these river valleys don't have a lot of water, and also your aquifer is very fragile. So long-term wise, if you don't manage your aquifer, you can end up harming the whole community. And that's, I think, one of the nice things about this game is it also talks about not just your farm, but also the community.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just screwed over my whole community already. You're absolutely right. I'm playing Stardew Valley right now, and you have all the water you want in Stardew Valley, right? Like that's not a problem. I just noticed the time. I'm sorry. We're actually a little over time. But how about a final thought from each of you? And then also maybe where we can, or
Yeah, you can play it free. CozyRiverValley.nmsu. That's New Mexico State University.edu.
I believe it is linked in the Discord. Is that correct? Yes, I'm getting the head nod. It is linked in the Discord for our conference participants. If anyone in chat is not in that Discord and you would like me to link it, let me know and I will copy that over when I am done streaming. So yeah, any final thoughts here about the game, your work, anything?
We are running a study, so if anyone is a teacher and they'd like to participate in our study, contact me, smiamy@nmsu.edu.
Okay.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Thank you. You know what? You might want to do a call out for the study on the conference Discord.
Yeah.
That feels like a place you can find people. All right. Thank you. It was very nice meeting both of you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry it was very cold.
Do you need us to go find you another sweater?
I'm wearing 4 layers right now. I think I'm okay, but thank you. Yes. All right. So, I'm gonna move that over for a minute. Let's see. Next one is it's the iCivics people. What are the chances? Hi,
Hello, welcome.
Nathan. What are the chances I could talk you into going to get me a tea?
Yeah, what is it up on the 4th floor?
Yeah, it's up on the 4th floor. Chamomile, please.
Yeah. Do you want it in here or just grab the back?
You know what? Instead, like, don't waste a cup. Here, just put it in there. But I need a new tea bag. Thank you. I'm trying to be all environmental now because we're just talking about water.
Yes, they have 2 different games too.
Yep. I'm familiar with iCivics.
No, I know you are for that. I was saying specifically on the schedule.
I know. That'll be nice because then we don't have to switch again.
Oh, it's almost
I know. I can't imagine that. Hi, Carrie. Either one. If you want the more comfy chair, we can just move this one. Oh, I take care of it. That was just. I was only. I actually had to special request 2 comfy chairs, and that was the most I could do. I couldn't get a third. I'm gonna put this way. Have we met before?
Probably have been around you.
I feel like that's true, and I've also come across a lot of other iCivic games previously, which is also why I was thinking like I've come across iCivics enough. I feel like we must have
15 years, so probably.
Yeah, we had to have crossed paths somewhere. Just in case, I'm Krista-Lee. Nice to meet you again.
Yes.
All right. And we have 2 games by you.
Yep.
We're gonna start with what is this one?
Oh, investigation declaration.
Investigation Declaration. Yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna start with that one. Because it was the first on the list.
Yeah.
So actually, you know what? Okay, so for the sake of people who are in chat and who maybe are not familiar with iCivics, why don't you start with a real quick what iCivics is?
Yes, iCivics is a really cool organization made up of a whole lot of folks who care deeply about civics, about teaching, about learning, and engagement. So we provide video games, as you will see. These are free, accessible to anybody. You can create accounts to save your progress and stuff, but you don't have to. And I think we've made over 25 games, and I think we have 20 online now. And then we have like 300, 400 lesson plans. We've got some core curriculum, we've got supplemental curriculum, so we've got a lot of stuff going on. But games are kind of the initial aha that most people think of when they do iCivics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I only knew about the game, but that's because I'm in the game space, right? So it's
exactly. I wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, because I think the first time I came across iCivics might have been Meaningful Play Conference in Michigan.
Okay. We've been around.
I think that was the first time I came across it personally.
And we've worked a lot with Filament Games, who made this, and all of our suite right now are with them. So
They're in Madison also. Where yes, I'm live in Madison, Wisconsin at the Memorial Union right now. I think I announced that this morning, but not for the second stream. From the Play, Make, Learn. Just doxing the crap out of everyone in the room right now.
Valid.
All right, let's check this out. Investigation declaration.
Yeah. So this was a high school game that we made, and we tried to kind of break some of our own rules in that we always made our games be playable within a class period, so like within 35 minutes usually. And there's kind of a set of processes or a path to take because we're trying to teach basically lots of process for civics. But this is our chance to get into a little bit of history as well. We've done a few, and this is, of course, my favorite right now because we're talking about it. And what we did is we kind of layered a little bit of Carmen Sandiego, had a baby with Case of the Golden Idol a bit. So we've got some Mad Libs, we've got some international intrigue, and we have some history doing, daring do, if you will. So basically, we created some bad guys that are trying to mess with these files at the Bureau of Ideas.
I like the name for the baddies again. I forgot the R, but it's BARF.
BARF, Baddies Against Rights and Freedom.
Rights, that was it. Rights and freedom.
We were trying to float fart as an option, but BARF won over because he doesn't love it.
I mean, I think both of those would have been strong.
I know my audience. They are high school and junior high kids.
Oh yeah. Apparently that starts early. I have a nephew who just turned 4, and we have discovered fart jokes.
Oh yes, nothing better. Nothing better. Your mama jokes are great when it's your child telling you the joke. I found that to be the case. So we've got to help the agents. You are Agent 6 to kind of pull all of this together again. What I'm not telling you is that you're going to do some intellectual history because that would be a wah-wah. But so here we're introduced. I don't want to talk about the characters.
Oh, you know what? We were having some tech problems,
okay.
so
I
I
can
can't hear them.
Okay, they're just basically doing what I just did, which was, hey,
Get up later.
check this out. We've got this problem. It hacked into us, and we need to go back to 1776 that is, to uncover some stuff and start to figure out all the missing pieces. So,
Ooh, so we got time travel in here too.
oh yeah, time
Oh,
and space. Baby.
yeah.
We're doing it all. So if you click on the collect snippets, this is basically the tutorial. Headquarters is going to teach you how to game this
All
game.
right.
And you are collecting these items from conversations. You're going to see it from stuff around you. And Agent Anna's in all of our games basically is the helper character, kind of takes the place of tutorial or teacher over your shoulder.
Sure.
And so she's going to give more background as to what you're doing. But in trading, rather than the tutorial, you're going to collect all the snippets in HQ and then go to Philly and collect what you can there. And then we're going to make our first link. So the game's all about I call it a murder board. It's a detective board, basically, connecting places by using ideas. And that requires you to travel across time and space to do that. So we'll just hit X out of there so you know what your goals are. And you've got those snippets, so you're going to be able to go back upper left to the next.
Here?
Yep. So we've had that conversation. That's turned blue with a check mark, and all the other orange spots. If you just want to kind of click into that, hit collect snippets. This shows us how to play. So we're going to have files that we're going to make sure that we create.
I like how you pointed out it also checks the accuracy when you store, so we're not just assuming.
Yes, and you're not just putting in words that look good or sound nice. Because they're also nouns. This isn't that kind of a Mad Lib. This is answer key Mad Libs. So it shows you how much you found. So you've got 4 out of 7, and we've organized them also into who, what, when, where, and why. Teachers can do a lot with this. Kids, anybody can do a lot with this. Thinking about like what can you learn from a place and a time, and then what can you do with that information. So it's both on a Mad Lib level, helping you figure out how to fill in the blanks, and you hit back. And then on a kind of investigation level, understanding what we're putting together. We really are focusing just on the Atlantic world because we only got 100 years of history that we're going to work with, 1750 to 1850. This used to be called colonial history, but that's kind of looking at one side a little more than the other side. So Atlantic history has been around for a while now, and it's a really inclusive way of looking at a certain time and space. Yep. So this just kind of shows you both what the sticker, the different buttons are going to get you to. So it's kind of an onboarding process since this has got a lot of different moving parts. This is where you have to start owning the big ideas that you're going to track, because we really want you to understand what natural rights is. I don't expect you to know walking in. That's not your job. So here we give a definition and then give examples as much as we can. So once you hit collect snippets, you'll notice that this looks a little different when it pops up. It's because there's a big idea here. So this is actually asking you, okay, based on that definition in this instance, it's a pretty easy answer because it's right there for you. But it's a way to kind of instill this so the kids can own it a little bit more. I feel like they've earned that knowledge. So you just pick the one that it is representing for you. Yep. Oh, what a pleasant ding that none of us you can hear, but
I can vaguely.
I can ding you. I can ding you.
I got it on here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. The problem was I had to bring my fancy headset from home that did not want to work with any of the school
Technology, man.
equipment.
I got it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's working now.
Oh.
It's got two more. So this is the social contract. Kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And I will say, teaching this when I taught it it's kind of hard to get your head around. They're kind of big ideas in such a way that you're like, okay, I don't know anything different. Why do I care? So what? But we're hoping that when you travel across time and space, you'll be able to see that they matter. And there's evidence of either not having it and that being a problem, or aspiring to it because it doesn't exist.
So that you're right, and it kind of reminds me of I can't remember the context this came up, but it was wow, my brain just broke. But when you are doing a good job, nobody notices, right?
Yes,
Like you think about
yes.
and I think this is actually true for a lot of jobs, for a lot of people. I think this was like a tech specifically conversation, but all of us see like the tip of an iceberg of most people's jobs, and we don't see everything that goes on underneath unless it goes wrong.
Yes.
Right. And so, and actually, I think you see this in like big news stories too, because like if there's, if there's some kind of like security failure, for example, everyone's like, oh my God, how did this happen? Blah, blah, blah. But then it's just like, how many hundreds of times was something
And you don't see the
stopped
protocol
and you don't know.
went into place before. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
right. Like there's so many things that you don't know the protocols, like you were saying, and so like I can see what you're saying here with like with these big ideas, and then not really being able to grasp how this is important, why it matters, because it just seems like the air we breathe.
And even when we teach it traditionally, it's like, okay, cool, that's a neat idea. Or in France, I can see how this was, an interesting inspiration or whatever. But it's like you don't see what the non is, right? What's the opposite of that? So you've collected really important stuff that's going to help us go to the next stage. So here's Anna again, just telling you you've done the snippet collection, huzzah, and now we're gonna go to Philly.
Yeah.
Motown Philly, before there was Motown.
All right.
So there's a map kind of jiggling up top. Yep. And we did pull out maps because there's some spots in North America, and there's also two visits to Paris. So
Okay.
That's why we're going to click there. And you'll notice on this map too that you've got little push pins at the bottom. That's where HQ is, in that island in the middle of nowhere, in the Atlantic.
Oh, right here. Sorry, I was looking down
No,
here.
that's
I
okay,
was like,
that's
oh, it's the push
those represent the different ideas by color. So
Okay.
we're actually going to be able to see different webs of connections
Oh, I like
by
that.
different colors.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead and click. You can do that.
Wait,
or
is that loading or?
you can hit it, and it'll go there. Oh, maybe the location now too. There we go. a little intro if you don't know about Philly, but we can travel there.
I also like how you don't pull punches. In the summer of 1776, finds Thomas Jefferson and his enslaved valet,
Facts.
Robert Hemming,
Yep.
in rented rooms. Da 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 da. No, we want to travel here.
Correct. Yep.
Um,
And we made a choice not to have TJ in this because TJ's everywhere right now. he's,
Yeah.
he's having a bit of a moment with A250 and stuff. So
Mhm.
here, you know, I like to make games, and the next game we'll talk about will be this too, is that like you can find lots of stuff that engages you with Thomas Jefferson or some of the founding fathers. What you don't see is everyone else in the space, basically,
I
right?
love that actually. Yeah, because like these, and I'm not bashing the great men of history, but they did not do it alone.
They did not do it alone. They did
Oh.
not do it alone. And
Yeah.
you know, it's amazing what they did together with everybody. And yes, their names are all in all the documents, but somebody had to get the outfits together. Somebody had to provide a room and
Uh-huh.
board. Somebody
Yeah.
had to like facilitate that. And I'm working on a game to get Abigail Adams in somewhere because she was
Nice.
so good. But here we've got the landlady, and who's a German family who owned this home nearby, and then we've got Robert Hemmings, who is Sally Hemmings' brother, I believe, and was the personal attendant, enslaved attendant to that. So here we have the big document, right? So it's still a draft. We got it drafted here. And I could go super nerdy in all directions from here forward, but I'm going to focus on the game because the history teacher in me is coming out. But what it does is we have excerpts as one type of snippet, right? So these are excerpts from the document itself where we're kind of saying, hey, we want to break loose.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to click snippets. Okay.
All right.
So now you got to work a little harder by reading this and seeing, okay, based on what's circled, what is the big idea distributed or defined there?
So only by what's circled out. What's
Correct.
Okay.
Because there's a bunch of stuff going to be going on.
Got
so
it,
we tried to
okay.
like isolate as much as possible.
Give me 1 second to read
Yeah.
this. Jefferson is reviewing comments on his first draft of the Declaration in Philadelphia. The document will communicate the colony's independence from Great Britain. So I'm going to go with state sovereignty.
Ding. Yes.
Oh, so we're going to go through each one.
Mm-hmm.
That
In
they
this case, yeah.
that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. My tongue always trips a little on that
That's
word.
an impossible word.
That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So that's natural, right? That to secure these rights, governments are instituted. I just need new glasses. Among men deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So that's the social part.
Yep.
Oh,
And so here it was really important too, because we didn't originally have all of them tagged in this doc because we had them spread out all over the space in Philly, in the space. But really, this is the one place where all these ideas come together. They didn't all originate in the document, which we're going to see because we can go back in time from here. But they do all get collected into one document for the first time that we can find in documented history, which is kind of exciting. So. All right, since we're only still in our tutorial phase, to be honest with you, so you can't go to the rest. You can come back to Philly later.
Okay.
But you want to go back to the world, and we're going to do our first link together.
ooh.
Yeah.
All right. If you run across big ideas in 2 different spots, try to restore that link. The link button on the map will bounce when linkable stops are detected. Okay, that's nice.
Yep.
More links you restore, the more spots will be on the map. Okay, so I'm trying to go here. So I'm just going to X out of here, right?
Yep. She's just kind of your little.
Yep. All right. Find a link. Oh, wait, that's what I just did. No.
Yeah.
Select 2 spots. Oh, okay. Oh, try to make. Oh, we're getting fancy here. Also make them in historical order. Okay.
What big idea do you want to connect? You have all 3 at your disposal. You don't always have that in limitations.
I'm trying to think what we have. We're gonna try state sovereignty.
Okay. Hit spot. First spot. And then you're gonna do Philly. Yep. And then go to the other spot. And headquarters. Got that. And then see if there's link. So we found the link, and now is the time to pull it together. So if you scroll, this is where the Mad Lib comes in, right? So
Got
the
it.
evidence that you've collected, nothing more, nothing less,
Okay.
is your available options. So if you hit who, how, what, where, whatever, it's going to show you the things that you've collected. So you have two options. You've got Special Agent 6 or Undecided.
Okay. So
So-
special agent site.
Yep.
My mission is to.
This one's railroading you because we want you to learn how to do it successfully first.
The records relating to the Declaration of Independence, and I traveled to
What?
Philadelphia.
The reason why we have Undecided there is because there is no right play style, which is not like most of our games. So if you choose to I want to check out the map and go everywhere and not worry about linking stuff until I've seen all the things, you could do that. It's not the most efficient way, but it's it's a totally fine way to do that. If you would rather go, I'm going to discover 2 places, make a link, and then go discover 2 more places and make a link, that's also. But you can only finish out a Mad Lib once you've truly collected all of the evidence in a space. So if you haven't done that, you're like, oh, then you can just leave Undecided and come back and then fill some more in.
Okay.
So you have options.
So I would still have the option to go into here if I didn't have all the information.
Yep.
But then when I tried clicking, it would just be on the side.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I see. Okay. So oh wait. It would just be I believe 1770.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said, and being real.
Now you'll end up with anywhere from 3 to 5 more options on some of these as you continue to explore, because some places just maybe rife with who's or ton of what's. Just depends. So you've done both. You found the link and then you completed the link. So you've got a purple line because we did it about state sovereignty. So you can hit the back button. And she's going to say, awesome, you rock. And then keep going.
Cute.
So it's a bit of a long training moment, but it's one that basically once you get started on that, there really shouldn't be a ton more what do I do now?
Right.
experiences.
Yeah. I can see that. I definitely. So I loved Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego as a kid, and I can feel the vibe here.
She's in all of her hearts.
Isn't she? It is absolutely true.
I didn't have a red hat at all.
So I want to make sure that we also have time to look at the other game that you
Absolutely.
came here to talk to me about. But is there any final thoughts you have on this one in particular before we move over?
No, one thing I'll explain is that there's unlocks. So you can see now you can go back to 65 or 70 and then go
Okay.
ahead to 1804. Play with those a while, and then we just decided to gradual release all the spaces. You can get the full thing open within about 2 links, I think. But since it was a new style of gameplay, and we figured just ease you into it, and then unlock the ones that will be not the easiest to start with, but once you open that up, you've got that's Haiti, Colonial Williamsburg, and Paris, a Parisian salon in those spaces. So those are kind of ways you can also keep working with those ideas. And then you'll have maybe the rest of them completely unlock in the 3rd turn. But we had playtesters ask us to not give it all to them in the first moments.
You know, what's hilarious in this moment is crazy thoughts that go through my head. Last night, I was literally having the thought of, I would love to have a Parisian salon.
I've got art guidance for you guys on this.
I am also a history nerd, so I was watching. I'm not gonna remember the name of the program, but it was kind of like this time period. I think it was a little later than 1770s thing. I think it was sometime in the early 1800s. And there was a scene talking about something that happened in a Parisian salon, and I'm just like we need those
there.
back. First of all, that looks fun and it looks pretty, and then also the number of times that will get brought up in history.
You'd be a saloniere, which I'm sorry, French-speaking folks. I didn't say that well, but that's the lady of the house who ran these.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But yeah, I feel like a lot of important things happened in
100%.
salons.
Yep, 100%.
And we need to, I think they should come back.
Let's do it. Open mic night, sort of.
I mean, yeah, sort of.
But intellectual open mic night.
Right. And then the other big thing was the Coffee houses.
That's actually where you go in Williamsburg.
Oh, so I'm coming back to play this game later.
Yeah, it's super fun. And I will say the spaces were like crazy researched. I always say that anytime we do one of these games, the team basically gets a master's level degree in research and writing content because we don't. We take it so seriously, it's kind of annoying probably, but I love it. It's like our passion, and we want to make sure that we're throwing out the best stuff.
I mean, I think that's why you're still around. You said 15 years. That tracks. Because I think I was in grad school. I was still an itty bitty student when I first heard about you guys and played my first ice game. And that was actually so long ago. I don't remember what the first one was that I played. But yes, every ice segments game I have touched, I have found was, first of all, very engaging. And then also, like, very well done. Like I said, I'm kind of like, so I'm not a professor of history, but like I personally am just a history nerd. And I am also the type of person who absolutely would be like, excuse me, actually,
Yes.
what happened? And I don't have that.
I will stay awake at night hoping that never happens. I want to please you.
Okay, no, not me. All right, so I'm gonna pop this over real quick so that I can grab the other link. I'll just leave that up for right now.
And I will say both of these games featured our partnership that we have with the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation. So they kind of partnered and funded these games to be like made them able to be made, which is wonderful. And we've got a lot of cool stuff that's happening, especially with this game, that kind of blurs the line between like a living history space, right? Like going to Colonial Williamsburg and a video game, because there's all kinds of cross topical things, which is really exciting. So this is an elementary school game. So we're gonna go from like, high school down to middle school up to AP. This is gonna be upper elementary. Trying to get two different folks excited about the content. So you hit no thanks there.
This is going to be another moment of me feeling oddly nervous. So earlier, I had a game designer on, and it was a game made for preschoolers. And my first thought was, I cannot mess this up. Like, if I get an answer wrong on a game made for preschoolers.
No judgment, none. You'd be surprised how bad I am at my daughter's games.
But there's so many reasons for that. Like sometimes, like you misread something, or you're clicking through too fast. I think that you think too hard. I have done that a few times too, where all of a sudden you start, it must be a trick question. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Just keep it simple.
You don't put trick questions in when it's for 3-year-olds.
Unkind.
And I'm guessing that's going to be the same here. There's probably not trick questions because you're.
No, there's some gray area. I'm
sure, but
gray
is different though than trick questions.
That's true.
Choose your pawn. Oh, these are so cute.
Aren't they adorable? I just got a 3D printer, and I've been told I have to figure out how to make things happen in 3D. So whatever speaks to you.
I want the little thing.
So this has got some pop-in audio. Let me try. That's okay.
Push that over more on you.
So here, Lord Dunmore, right? He's the British governor of Virginia at the time, and Anna in a different outfit, different vibe. You're at the palace, and you basically are getting told, like, you're the third person here.
Okay.
And you're getting told, hey, some people are talking some trash, and we're a little concerned about it, right? In a, again, very much more acceptable way of speaking than talking trash, because that wouldn't have passed mustard in the history of life. So just keep hitting those talk buttons, and he's going to kind of continue to give you your job.
I like that. Or I'm also apparently in a romantic mood. But the phrasing, loyalists. Well, it's fucking that they're loyal. They know better than to question. I should probably get in front of the microphone before talking.
It was so smart what you just said.
Uh, oh, and the rebels who just want stupid little things like equality and freedom. How dare they? Oh my goodness. I shouldn't make jokes like that. Someone's gonna flip me and I get fired. That's how that works.
And what's interesting is we actually struggled a lot with this intro because it wasn't just a straight up, because when we teach it, it's easy, right? Loyalists versus patriots, right? They weren't called patriots yet. And so we're just like, well, what do we call them? So we had to make a decision to be like, historically, they weren't yet taking on that name
Right.
for themselves. They were just like in a rebellion.
Right.
But we kind of like tried to explain it away a little bit because it's still like that's how you're going to get tested on it. That's how you're going to have to talk about it in classes and stuff. So
Right. Oh, look at this.
So it all comes down. It's a super simple mechanic where. Oh, sorry. Am I talking over her? Is that annoying?
Talking.
If the VO is playing while I talk? Is
No,
that
no,
a problem? Okay.
it's totally fine. I love how this map is done too, because I've like even gone back to like a bunch of like old historical maps, and it's very much the style they're done.
This is based on a map
Yeah,
of Colonial
yeah, it
Williamsburg,
comes across
like a
really
real
well.
place. So you have a seesaw, and it basically comes down to you talk to somebody, you try to get a feel for what they're coming from or what they have to say, and those stamps below are what's going to help you kind of keep track, if you want to,
Okay.
of what you hear and what you see. And you only talk to other kids. No adults.
Yeah, no. Besides, you like,
They're the most honest, anyways.
I was just,
She's the most honest too. Yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say because they don't know better,
Yeah.
right? It's just gonna be like, well, mom said blah 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 blah, and then mom yells at you later because you were supposed to say that.
Exactly. And I bet you her dad's behind that door going,
Uh-huh.
"Why are you doing this to me?"
It's my teapot now. Oh. Oh.
So as a silversmith, he is going to end up working with the richer folks in town, who are finding their best interest to be living.
Of course, yeah.
And if you want to see how some of them have circles,
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that's where I could
if you
stand.
wanted to stand, you could. Yes.
Okay.
That's a hint at hatred, leaning, whatever.
Can I scroll back?
You can.
Because I would also want to stamp this one.
So you read in between the lines, right? Like,
Yeah.
you figured that out. This is actually one of the harder interviews because of this.
Mm-hmm.
We did some data to kind of see how they did by characters, how they whatever, and we wrote it kind of with intent to be like, hey, you're gonna have to like you can't just like let it like wash over you and not pay attention.
Right.
There's a little bit of critical thinking that has to happen.
Right. Oh my God, I love that. I feel like anything that can bring more critical thinking practice into the world is necessary right now. Yeah, I noticed that right away. I didn't quite put together how the
it's okay.
stamps worked with
Yep.
the circle.
I think it was a later addition to the game design was that we like how do we scaffold it for folks.
So like, can I come back later and see like, oh, this person had this many stamps? Or is that how it
You will
tracks?
see it in just a second when
Oh.
we finish at
Okay.
the end of a round because you're gonna only have a chance to talk to 2 people, and I would say it's probably take us the time to do that because
Sure.
you got to go through the conversations. But it's really a game of conversations and poking around and being nosy. So if it sparkles, you can click it.
All right. This was so based on what she said
Yep,
before.
exactly, because you're applying context clues. And stuff
Right.
else.
Okay. And then this was the other one that they were.
That is a real
for.
Item at
Anti-tax
Colonial
hat.
Williams. Colonial Williamsburg has that on display. We had so much fun working with them. I went there like in the hottest days of summer.
Ooh, not the time.
I'm not going to say I don't recommend it. I'd say you should go all the time because there's plenty of AC spots, but it was very hot.
All right, so I think that's everything.
Yep.
We should bring back protest teacups.
Mm.
I will at the salon that I'm
Yes.
going to put on. I will,
Please invite me. I want to see
I will
that
absolutely-
salon.
I will absolutely. If I ever figure out how to actually do this, I will invite you to my.
I'll
salon.
find a bustle and I will.
That is my first problem. Is I need a bustle, and then I actually know a couple of people who play classical music, so I could get that.
Okay, that's part of it. Sugar
Done.
sculptures would be next, followed by great pieces of art, object to art from whatever pilfered territories Frank had at the time. So here's the doing, right? So like you need to figure out where she would fall on the patriot, a little loyalist, or loyalist.
Okay,
You just
so
pick her up and drop her.
I'm gonna put her here. I mean, 'cause if you are literally repairing the weapons for
Yep.
people, that's not very middle of the road.
So you get immediate feedback that that's right, and if you were wrong, it would slide her back to the right spot. This is all about building a balance beam over the whole game. So you're going to meet people, and then you have to not only talk to loyalists or only talk to patriots. And so then you're going to want to find somebody who's around. Some of these. Who might be a loyalist.
Daughter, age 7. All right, we're starting out by being bad. I love it. Oh, so they are like fresh from London.
They literally.
I get all the nicest toys from London.
So I'm gonna do that there.
They're fresh over, and then they end up going out of here quickly.
So there's a question in chat for you, Carrie. Are you concerned that the game is too awesome?
Every day, I wake up and go, "What have I done
There you go.
for the children of America?"
I was like, you know who that is.
But I think it's a true and honest question that has to be discussed.
Oh. I am really enjoying this game and the declaration game that I might go back. I'm kind of glad I didn't play the whole declaration game on stream just because I'm slightly worried that I'm slightly worried there's a few things I don't know. And I would like to play it in private.
Well, I mean, I
know.
I can help you out. I was a social studies teacher too. Let's go. I had a student one time. We were doing Win the White House in my classroom, and he came back the next day and he's like, I actually went home and kept playing it.
Oh, she's the daughter of the governor of Virginia.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a kid email me and ask me to get a hold of his parents because he got caught at 3 a.m. under the covers, basically playing. I was like, no, but it's for school. And they're like,
Sure it
turn it
is.
off. And he got grounded. And so he actually decided that I couldn't get him out of grounding. And I wrote to him like, hey, Mom. So I'm pretty sure you have some rules. I'm pretty sure they were broken. Like, for what it's worth, it's a learning game, but good parenting.
But your kid does still need sleep.
Yeah. And this is all stuff that's real things that exist. Which is, again, super fun. The doll we call Nightmare Fuel. I don't know if you've clicked on that yet.
Oh no.
And that is, am I ruining an Easter egg by telling people?
No. I don't.
Well, I'm gonna click on it in a second.
All right. Well, no, it's you will see it in both games.
Okay.
It's too good not to use it in both games.
Oh, this is that's the other side of the proclamation line.
Yeah.
See, I know stuff.
I didn't hear what you said.
The map of the West was the other side of the proclamation line.
Oh. So wait, why is this thing?
I don't. Well, I had the original file that I got from like marketing use documents and stuff is zoomed in very largely, and she just kind of was like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
She's
can
cute,
I
but-
can kind of see it. I think I would also maybe not register right away because oh my god, things that nobody in chat knows about me. I have a collection of porcelain dolls, and a lot of
clowns. I'm out.
there's no clowns. There's no clowns, but they are not in display in my house because so many people find them to be so scary that I just keep them packed away.
I've got a good scary doll story too.
But that is a thing. And so like I get like on the one hand I get it, but I just don't find dolls scary.
It's more of like the head cocked to the side and just like staring off into space. I don't know.
They kind of look like that though, because like some of them will be up on stands until they're standing, but then if you do have one that is sitting, that will kind of do that because the neck is not really that reinforced. So like, I don't know. Okay.
I don't like put it out there. So sorry to all
This discussion on doll
All right, so
uh,
I'm gonna say out
theory.
loud that like the obvious answer is to go full loyalist,
Yep.
but I just want to see what happens, so I'm gonna put it over on Patriot just to watch. Not quite right. Remember how much she loved the king? Here's my stamps. Making it closer.
So Anna will kind of, you see your stamps, and then Anna will show you her stamps.
Yep.
And then if it's different, you kind of go like, oh, I just read that opposite, or I
Right.
picked the wrong color or whatever. And so if you go back to the map after this, you'll see that on the bottom, you now have a balance.
Okay.
Occasionally it will tip a little more or the other just because you're talking to one or more
Right.
people.
Right.
But as you continue to like go around town, more places will unlock, and you have more opinions, more insights, more folks to talk to. And we did. I know these are the first two people are young white women, but we do have folks. Robert is at the Rafferton Indian School. So he's a Native American. We've got actually two indigenous folks there, a couple enslaved people, someone who's African descent and free, and they all have really interesting perspectives. Like they don't all live on the edges of the spectrum, right? There's some gray area, which is fun because that's where you kind of get into like, like I see your side, but I see it. The main goal of this game, honestly, is to get people to understand that a third were patriots, a third were loyalists, and a third didn't have they didn't have an opinion, but they weren't swayed one way or the other. It's like whatever, let's just get through this and go far or whatever. Because most people think it was 99% patriots, the king, and that's it. And it wasn't. There were people living in that kind of gray middle. To that effect.
It's funny how history kind of echoes itself sometimes, not in any particular way.
But but that I assume, could be wrong, that at most critical historical points you have that middle ground people who are just like, which also makes sense because for a lot of people it's like, yes, you rich people with power fighting about shit. Thank you. I'm busy trying to make sure my family has enough potato seed.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's how I'm Irish.
I was thinking potatoes as well. Exactly. And so when you get into the conversations with, especially the enslaved population, which there was half, I think, the population of Williamsburg at that time was, so it's also kind of understanding
Wow.
the amount of diversity in that town. It was the biggest city in that area historically, but they're like, hey, I'm like, my mom says freedom's the way to go. I don't really care who gives it to me. And another person's like, I don't think anyone's gonna give it to us, so let's not get too invested in that, right?
Yeah.
And Dunmore's proclamation was a promise when it all hits the fan. This is all before the fan hits. 65, but when it hits the fan, he makes a proclamation. And some enslaved folks leave with him, and then it returns, and he gets kicked right back to the people who were enslaved.
Yeah.
So, like, promises, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like we don't tell that whole story in the game because we're kind of having a snapshot game of
Right.
history, but
Right.
our extension packs, of which every game has these like has history files, so you can find out what happened to the characters that are based on real people. Like they were returned from the Randolphs. Enslaved family was returned after Dunbar. Right, we know that to be a fact. We know that so and so became a missionary, and so and so did this. So and so left with her dad, or was shipped back to England. So that was really also fun in creating both of the games because these characters, like a lot of these people, were based on real people. They were the actual people being represented. So we just want to spark curiosity with kids, and I always tell teachers, especially, like I'm not promising to have a kid walk away with like a whole understanding or intellectual history or theory. I just want kids to have a door kicked open a little bit with a game they played one time, right? So when they do get to read that chapter, they have that Socratic seminar with the teacher, that they're like, wait, or aren't we going to play that tomorrow?
Yeah,
That kind
so
of deal.
one of the great things about being able to do all these interviews is there's been certain ideas about learning that have carried through, right? So in the last interview, we were talking about the same thing where they were like, nobody's going to sit down and understand what it's like to farm in an area with not a lot of water completely. But the way you phrase it was you have that door kicked over. Now you know that this thing exists or this thing was real. And then that gives you a chance to look further into it, right? So one of the things I say is like, you have to know the question to ask in order to ask it, right? So you know, this one, again, being a history nerd, a lot of this, I've already, there's nothing here that's like super new to me. But in the farming game, for example, I learned the term cover crop, which I had never known about, and I don't actually know anything about now, but now that is, I know the word, so I can go look it up if I want, right? I would say like games, TV shows, like fictional books, like they can all do this for us. They all kick that door open, but games have that special bit of then you also have some agency, so you just get more of a feel for it. A link happens in gaming that doesn't with other
Plague
forms
basically
of media.
made me a virus. I wanted to be a virus more than anything. Way back when it came out, I was obsessed with that game. It's like all of a sudden I care about like immunology, and,
Right.
all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So to answer your question, Soul, they're at my mom's house
In the dark waiting.
because yes, they are waiting. Because I have 0 friends who are okay with me bringing them out. So that's where they are. We are. Do you have any final thoughts about this game?
This is so fun. No, I appreciate all y'all doing this stuff. And no, it's a great way. What we do also offer with Williamsburg is they have a itinerary. And if you do go there with kids, it'll take you on a tour of the town with these spots. And if there are historical interpreters there based on any of these folks, you will get to talk to them, and they'll kind of like you can source them out. And they're working on a couple other things that kind of again blur that space between digital visitors and in life, like animal visitors. I don't believe that's what they call them, but
No, but I love that you can do that. I really do. The years and years ago when I worked on an English language game, we very carefully made sure that certain landmarks were exactly where they were and the street names were as they were so that you could go to New York and find these things based on having played the game.
I love, and it just makes going anywhere more exciting.
It really does. It does. If you're with the right people. Because I will say, here's my final thought. So this was not an educational game, but like way back in the day, World of Warcraft, you know, you could swim. And one of the things in there was these giant clams that you could open up and like pearls or something might be inside. I am not joking. So I went diving off the coast of Thailand and saw one of these in real life. And I got so excited. And I surfaced and I came up and I'm like, oh my God, this is like World of Warcraft. The person I was with did not appreciate. He was not engaged. My excitement at having been able to make that connection. Yeah, well, that's why we're not dating. Oh, and showing me these games and letting me go off talk about weird things like my exes and my doll collection.
I bring out the best in everyone.
Apparently, I have a few regulars who've been in chat, and now I'm like just afraid that they are gonna ask me about this later, and I'm gonna
I
be
know
like,
some.
oh no, oh no, he already has.
You'll continue though.
I'm sure that is in my future. All right. So these are all at icivics.org, right? Are all your games free?
They certainly are.
Look at that. All of these games, icivics.org, are free. Are you in our Discord? The Discord. So if you have any further questions for Carrie, we do have a continued from stream channel that I haven't had time to look at yet.
I'll get on there too.
But that would be a place to, if you have questions for Carrie about anything she said here or anything that we didn't get to yet. So thank you. You are actually our last interview for the day too. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the double whammy. Thank you for everyone in chat, Imtor Soul. I know earlier we had Scuba Z and QQ, and I don't remember who else, but thank you all. And we are done for the day. If you are at the conference, I will be back in the corner of the arcade for a little bit, but otherwise, I'll be back for my regularly scheduled streams tomorrow morning. Bye.
So cool. Thanks.